Hey everyone, this is Tyler with Secure Team 10, and today we have a very special guest. Now, there has been major response to a recent interview we posted on the 20th of October, and one of the biggest questions, or comments rather, is that with so much disinformation being spread out there, particularly by some of the other major YouTube players, you know who you are. How is it possible to discern what is real from the what is not? Here we have an article discussing the recent DHS ammo buys, saying that the agency is using 1,000 more rounds of ammunition per person than the Army. Now I want you guys to think about that for a second. 1,000 more rounds of ammunition per person than the Army. There's something really big going on here, guys, and if I have any say about it, I'd say we are gearing up for something extremely big. There are also reports coming out that the Department of Homeland Security has been requesting riot control gear after buying billions of bullets and other ammunition. The DHS is purchasing bulk amounts of protective gear for its Federal Protective Service officers to prepare for possible, quote, riot control situations. They're afraid of domestic unrest, and this is the way they're prepping for it. So what exactly are they afraid of? What's coming that we don't know about that they do? What are they gearing up for? And what type of ammunition and riot gear are they purchasing? Well, here's just a few of the things to name a few. They are purchasing full body protection gear, 111 Centurion CPX 2500 softshell riot control systems, which protect the upper body from blunt force trauma, 123 Centurion TPX 200 thigh and groin protection systems, which are designed for blunt force trauma protection during riot control situations, 110 Hatch TS70 Centurion hardshell shin guards, which provide substantial protection from flying debris, 189 Max Pro police riot helmets. They are also seeking 116 pairs of tactical gloves and 128 forearm protectors. The equipment is set to be delivered to a FPS facility in Virginia within 45 days of the award. It has been clear that the DHS has been prepping for civil unrest ever since they began purchasing large amounts of ammunition. The agency has already committed to purchasing over 1.6 billion rounds of bullets over the last year. They have even issued a request for information, which quizzed bullet makers on how fast they can supply large amounts of ammunition. Hundreds of new FPS guards were hired by DHS last year, ordered to protect buildings around the U.S. The DHS is clearly prepping for civil unrest and riots, and they sure are arming themselves well. Meanwhile, government bureaucrats continue to trample on our Second Amendment rights. So what exactly does this all mean? There's been a lot of talk of the comet ISON and its possible catastrophic effects on the Earth. Although we have reported on this, at the present time it would appear that speculation seems to be the only real driver for recent fear over this situation. We will continue to monitor information on ISON as it comes in. However, recent events linked to an interview we obtained with a very important government asset have swayed public opinion as to what's truly going on with the recent buildup of military hardware from both FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security, and it has nothing to do with a comet. To clarify, our source is in fact using an alias for his protection, and certain names, dates, and locations have been changed for obvious reasons. Many of our viewers have proclaimed their general distrust in whistleblower revelations, which is completely understandable considering the mysterious nature of these types of leaks to begin with. But that is what a leak is, and sensitive material does not always come with packaged sources and evidence for verification. Information comes in small bits over time, and we want to reassure our viewers that we would not post anything that we were not sure about. And frankly, we are extremely honored to have Dr. Norton share his take on this, despite the obvious threat that comes with anyone who takes things into their own hands and comes forward for the good of humanity. We ask that our viewers be patient and to do their own research so as to aid our fight for the truth. Alright, my name is Tyler with Secure Team 10, and today we are speaking over the telephone with Dr. Eric Norton. Hello, Dr. Norton.
Hello, Tyler, and thank you for having me.
Now, since our first interview, there's been a massive response to the video. Have you noticed this or checked out our video since doing the first interview?
You know, I've been extremely busy since doing our interview. The hotel that I had actually been staying at when I did the interview with you, I had checked in using a phony name. I had not told anybody about the alias that I had used in our interview. I had not told a single soul. And the hotel that I checked into, which was across state from where my home is, I used a different alias. And just hours after your video was uploaded, I received a call from the front desk of the hotel. The front desk clerk asked me if there had been a Dr. Norton staying with me, because apparently they had received a phone call from someone in law enforcement saying that they needed to immediately speak with someone named Dr. Norton and to find out if someone by this name was staying in my hotel room. I told the clerk that no one by this name was in my hotel room, and I hung up, and I got out of there. I am now at a different location, out of state, and it was a very worrisome alert when I received a phone call from the front desk, because as I said, no one had known that I was using the alias Dr. Norton. And I used a completely different name while checking into the hotel, so you can see how quickly they can find you, and I was just lucky enough to get out of there.
That is extremely bothersome to me that someone, and from what you said, we don't know who exactly, tracked you to the hotel you were at, even your room number. I'm very relieved that you were able to get out of the location, and from what we spoke about on the phone earlier, you have taken more stern precautions to hide your identity and whereabouts. Is that correct?
Yes, since the first interview, there is no doubt that there are rogue elements here that are attempting to not only find me, but to discredit the video you posted of our interview. Just from reading some of the comments on the video, it's obvious to me that some of these posters are without a doubt government people that have one goal, and that is to bring doubt to the minds of the viewers watching.
Exactly. And it's true that with any type of big story like this, there are going to be people with doubts. And on top of that, there are going to be disinfo agents out there to exploit those doubts and push those doubts to the limit. I've tried to explain this to my viewers, and thankfully most of them are open-minded and are patiently working with us to find the truth. One question that we have recently received a lot is, why did you not go to a major news source with this, or possibly one of the more popular YouTube channels having to do with the alien phenomenon?
Well, to be honest, the major news networks are the last place that you'd want to go with something like this. These networks are part of the government establishment and are used by a multitude of government agencies to push their agendas through the television sets of homes throughout the country. If I had attempted to reach a major news outlet, there would have been either one of two things that would have happened. They would have either rejected my story because, as I said, they are working for the government and controlled by SAME. Or option two, they would have taken my story and done everything they could to discredit it and turn it into a mockery like they've done countless times to others. The internet is the only place you can really leak information like this, and you have to find the true truth seeker out there to use in getting this information out. And I've followed many individuals online and on YouTube and other various video sites, and nearly 75% of them, if not more, are not about the truth. They do no real research. Even some of the most popular people that I've seen on YouTube especially, and we're talking about the ones who have made a business out of their fame and have amassed millions of views on their videos, who claim to be almost gods in terms of their all-knowing knowledge about the alien/UFO phenomenon. These people have no idea what's going on out there. They do interviews and they create videos using the same old stuff, and nothing legitimate ever comes from it. Because there are people out there who know the real truth, people like me, and they see these videos that are being put out, and they know that this is not correct information. I found Secure Team 10 to be a channel that often, more times than not, has gotten it right. You've done obvious research in your videos where I haven't seen in any others. After speaking with you, I had made up my mind that that was the choice I would go with. You do honest work, it seems, and your viewership seems to be growing in massive numbers by the day because of the work that you've done. So I commend you for that.
Well, we thank you for that. It really does mean a lot. We are always trying to get out the truth through whatever means possible. We wanted to do something different than what's out there already. We've noticed that the majority of the large YouTube players who post videos regarding things like the New World Order or the alien phenomenon They're not really doing much research, but simply post a handful of clips from other videos that everyone's already seen, add a little commentary and sell it to the public in return for monetary gains. And I think that is the reason that people have come over to our channel, because they want to see research about new things not yet discovered anywhere else, and our numbers show that. We will continue our work regardless, and we appreciate every person we reach. Now, can you tell me a little bit about the work you've done for NASA without obviously giving out too much information that would jeopardize your safety?
Yes, I can tell you that I have done contract work for both NASA and for a short time the NSA, for well over a decade altogether. My main field of expertise is geospatial intelligence work and the investigation of materials in space, their chemical and structural makeup, and the tracking of space objects that are within and outside of our solar system, which are logged and distributed to various government outlets who request them. I am considered to be one of the leading specialists in my field, and to date have helped with the identifying and tracking of over 12,000 space objects. And I can tell you right now, some of these things were not comments, they weren't space junk, and they certainly weren't asteroids. Most of the work that I do is high clearance, high security. However, there are countless others whom I've worked with and who do the same type of work. So it allows me to blend in and become harder to track. Now, there are thousands of specialists doing work under the wing of the government agencies like NASA, DoD, DHS, and the like. I am confident that with the safety precautions I myself have taken and that you have taken in uploading of these interviews, that at least for now, they will be unable to uncover my true identity. Had they held this ability, I assure you, I would have been quietly arrested the moment the first interview was posted. I firmly believe that the government will go the route of putting out a mass public disinformation campaign in hopes of discrediting what we are trying to do here, as I know they have done with others who have come forward, including those of the likes of Julian Assange and the British hacker Gary McKinnon, who, if you remember correctly, broke into some 97 United States military and NASA computers over a 13-month period between the dates of February 2001 and I think it was March 2002 or 2003, and he uncovered proof of our government's contact with alien beings. This is the new status quo that the government abides by when something leaks. They don't kill you anymore, which would only add to the validity, but they run disinformation campaigns and employ untold numbers of agents who do nothing but sit on government computers seeking out videos like yours and blasting them with doubt.
Right. I certainly agree with you on that. Now, do you think that they are succeeding in these types of disinformation campaigns?
No, I do not. Not anymore, at least. I believe that their strong hold on the public's opinion regarding these matters has been severely weakened by the major transition of normal, everyday people opening their eyes and really understanding the truth about these matters. The government is not pristine in their agendas and what they've done, and have made countless mistakes in their campaigns, and the public has witnessed this. Whether it be the false flags they've participated in or the lies that they push to profit from never-ending wars, the people are waking up, and it's people like you who are to be thanked for that.
Well, again, I am in total agreement with you in that the government does seem to be losing its grip on the public's perception of what's happening out there. And much of that is their own fault. I think that they have, and by them, I mean the dreaded powers that be, they have seriously lost credibility by pushing the line so many times and being blatantly, blatantly obvious and uncaring in their reckless disregard for doing anything to push a certain agenda, and not caring who sees it and who puts two and two together. It's as if they believe that they are untouchable and that no one will really open their eyes, but they are. And that's the thing. They are opening their eyes, and they are doing it in massive numbers. There's no longer a taboo around the subject, and that should scare the government elements looking to keep these secrets from the public eye. Now, I know you were short on time due to the nature of your coming out with this information, and that, from what you told me, you have to change locations frequently, especially when doing an interview like this. So let's go ahead and get to the last point here and go into a little bit more detail, if possible, about these large ships that you described in our last video. Now, do you know where they are, what they are, and if they are piloted, or where they came from?
You have to understand that I did not have the pleasure to continue in the investigation of just what exactly these things are. Now, as I said before, I was dismissed from the project after being called out to a certain observatory to determine what these things were to begin with. After identifying them near the planet Mars, I myself and a few others who I had worked with at this observatory were dismissed, and I heard nothing else for months. It was only after briefly speaking with a colleague that I was informed that these things had reappeared behind the moon at such an angle that the Earth viewers cannot see their approach. To begin with, these things are black. Now, they do not emit hardly any light and are extremely hard to see using basic telescopic equipment. We were able to discern that these were not natural objects and had obtained extremely close-up images of said objects, using equipment that was never seen before or exposed to the public. I am not at liberty to say what this equipment is due to the fact that I honestly had never seen it before the time I was at the observatory. Now, what I can tell you is that our government has technological capabilities, especially in the realm of space imagery. We have imagery systems that can take photographs of Jupiter as if you were standing 10 meters above its gaseous surface. And we are talking resolutions that would make video and imagery equipment today look like something out of the Stone Age. To be honest, I was shocked and quite excited to be able to see this imagery system, which was actually hooked up to the telescope being used. Now, what I do know is that it works through the use of not just a telescope on the ground, but with a massive Hubble-like space telescope strategically planted in space, which precisely bounces images off of one another and back to the ground for processing. The exact specifications to the way they do this is still a mystery to me, but I can tell you it's very amazing, and I don't think anyone out there has any illusions about the fact that our government holds technology that would only be thought of in the movies, and that includes technology that was procured from outside of our planet. What I can tell you about these objects is that they do have the ability to move very fast in a very short period of time. They emit a force field that not only deflects rays from the sun and other space weather, but deflects objects themselves. We witnessed this when a mile-wide chunk of space debris made its way on a collision course with the ship-like object and was stopped in its tracks as if it had hit a brick wall. We imaged particles of this space rock being deflected in the opposite way that it came after hitting this invisible force field that surrounds these objects. We did not know if they were piloted, as we did not image any type of windows in the conventional sense on the object's outer structure. We did witness crevices within the structure, as well as definite lines and creases that appeared to us to be possible ports or linings of a large door or relative structure. Again, I was not there long enough to study the technical details of the objects, only the material of their makeup, and even that we are not sure about. This is a material never before seen on Earth, so it's hard to determine just what these things are made up of. What we do know is that they appeared on our scopes. We then imaged them out near the planet Mars, which was then blown up and confirmed with others there to not be natural in nature. The objects disappeared, whether it be using some sort of cloaking device or having left their position in space and moved somewhere else that we could not track, but we could not find them. They appeared again, from what my colleague told me, from behind the moon, approaching at such an angle that only our space telescopes could see them. Then they aligned themselves in a trajectory behind the moon so that no one could witness their approach. From what I know, they are still there now, and I am currently in close contact with someone who will be providing me hopefully with more information on this. Now, security has, of course, increased around this project, and from what I know, it's partially due to our interview. All I can tell you is to be safe and for your viewers to keep an open mind, because this really is happening.